we'll find a seated position to start. Your legs can come to cross in front of you, feeling your hips firmly underneath you. Maybe you want to lean one side and then the other to position them back a little further so that you're really sitting on to the sits bones. Your hands can come to your knees and your eyes can come to close. We'll take the first few moments of class to center in and be present in the moment. Start to notice the breath. Not forcing it to be anything at this moment. Just letting it be free. Tonight we're going to take it a little bit slower, move in a more restorative way, settling our mind and our body for the week ahead. We'll bring our awareness to our hands on top of our knees, feeling the weight of the gravity pressing down. Maybe noticing our sits bones connected to the mat. Maybe getting a sense of how each vertebrae stack on top of each other. Good. Start to bring awareness to your surroundings. Maybe the light that's coming through the windows, the temperature of the air. Maybe any sounds that you hear outside of where you're doing your practice. Then start to bring some awareness to your breath here. We'll inhale through the nose, filling up the lungs. You're keeping the tongue connected to the roof of your mouth. Exhale out the nose, letting all the air out. Good. Inhale again through the nose. Then exhale, noticing a change of temperature between inhales and exhales. Keep breathing just like this, letting the air warm up and become humidified as it moves through your body. Good. Starting to bring some movement to our breath. We'll do some seated cat-cows today. So your inhale is going to press the chest and the belly button forward. And then your exhale will round the back. I like to hold on to my knees while I do this. Kind of give myself some leverage as I inhale, bringing the chest forward. Then exhale, my hands allow me to hold on as I let my back sink towards the back of the room. Good. Inhale, coming onto the front of the hips. Exhale, round the back, bring the shoulders forward. Good. Inhale, bring the shoulders back, maybe squeeze the shoulder blades. Then exhale, maybe tuck the chin this time. Good. Inhale one more time. Then exhale, coming back to a neutral spine. Interlace your fingers and we'll swoop forward and then up, coming all the way up. Long body stretch as you reach towards the ceiling. Good. Exhale the hands out to the sides. Reach the palms of the hand out to both ends of the room. Really energize the bottom of your arms all the way into your palms. Maybe you feel this in your middle finger. Good. Your fingers come back towards your body to wake up those nerves. Your nerves love movement, so if you want to move your wrist back and forth, maybe playing around with that sensation, that can feel pretty good. Good, and then exhale, bring your right hand down to the mat. Reach your left fingertips over to the side. Good, when you get here, see if you can engage your core, bringing your low ribs together so that you almost are looking up towards the ceiling. Good, look up on your inhale. Exhale, bring your left hand down to the mat. Tent up on your fingertips and look over to the right side of the room. Keep both hips planted here. Then exhale, walk hand over hand, come back to center. Then bring your arms out long in front of you, letting your head hang heavy. You can rock from side to side. Then walk your hands back up to center. Interlace your fingers one more time. Swoop forward and then up. Good, big inhale as you reach towards the sky. Exhale, brings your hands out to the side, waking up those arms again. Good, if you want to add in those wrists, feel free to do so now. Good, exhale, lowers your left hand down, reach your right fingertips over to the side. Good, always an option to drop down onto that forearm or stay lifted, whatever feels right to you. Just check back into that core, squeeze those lower ribs together. Good, inhale, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, brings your right hand down to meet your left. Good, you should feel a nice side body stretch when you do that. Tent up on your fingertips, look over to the side. Then walk hand over hand, coming back to center. Take a few sways here as you let your head reach towards the ground. Good, walk yourself back up. Bring both feet out to touch. The soles will touch in front of you. We're going to come into this bound angle pose. So your feet are touching, your knees come out wide. You can bring your feet in any degree, whatever feels best on your knees. So we're going to sit really on the front of our sit bones, almost like we're leaning forward to get that hip tilt in there. And then as you start to walk your hands out in front of you, keeping your spine long first, we'll hinge at the hips to come into a forward fold. We'll stay here for a few moments, so find a comfortable position here. And see if you can let your head hang heavy. If this is uncomfortable for your hips at all, maybe you find some supports to place under your knees to make this a little bit more restorative for you. Always an option to find different versions of what I'm bringing you through. Modify it to meet your body and your needs. But maybe taking some time here in this pose as we sink towards the ground to remind yourself of something that maybe makes you feel or seem grounded. It can be a person or a feeling, something that brings you back to your purpose. Good. Start to walk your hands back up toward your hips. Extend your left leg long out in front of you. We're going to bring the right foot to the outside of the left knee. Your right hand comes behind your hips like a second spine. Then reach your left fingertips up. We're going to take a spinal twist here. So left elbow outside of right knee, twisting over to the right. And when you get here, maybe you follow with your gaze, looking over your back shoulder. See if you can keep the spine extending up towards the ceiling so that we're not crunching into this twist. We're keeping the spine long. Good. Come out of that slowly. You can stay here. We're going to bring the top leg almost like on top of our leg, our extended leg. And then you can either keep this leg extended or bend it underneath you. We're going to take a quick forward fold here, opening up that hip. So find something that feels good for you. Obviously, keeping the bottom leg extended will be a little bit less of a hip opener. But whatever one, see if you can keep both hip bones connected to the ground. Good. You can stay here if this is enough of a hip opener for you. Or you can start to walk your hands out in front of you, folding forward into this pose. Good. When you get here, let's connect back to the breath. Your inhale, you'll feel your belly button rise towards your legs. Exhale brings the belly button back towards your spine. Let all the air out, squeeze it out. Use your abdominals. Good. Inhale, open up the lungs. And exhale, out the mouth this time, letting it all out. Let's start to walk the hands back up. We'll lean back onto the back of our hips. Bring both feet out in front of us. And just take a few windshield wipers from one side to the other, letting your knees fall, both left and right. Good. When you come back up to center, extend that right leg out long. We'll take that on the other side. Left ankle comes outside of right knee. Left hand behind you, reach up with the right hand. Exhale, come into that twist. Good. We'll be here for about 3 or 4 breaths. These twists are great for helping with your digestion. They provide a little bit of a massage to your internal organs. They also stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system to help calm you down. One more breath here. Exhale, come back to center. Option to take a little counter twist. And then bring that left knee on top of the right leg. Take your variation of this pose. So if that's tucking the leg underneath and then coming into this deep hip opener. Good. Feel the spine extend up towards the ceiling first before you start your forward fold. Always getting into these poses a little bit slowly, taking your time to get there. Good. Maybe in this pose, we'll be here for a few more breaths. Bringing some awareness to maybe some thoughts or feelings that you're bringing with you tonight. Maybe letting them be there authentically without trying to change them. It's always important to remember that we can't be positive all the time. Good, and then start to walk your hands back up. We're gonna bring our legs out in front of us and start to get off of our hips and a little bit further on to some different parts of our body. So extend your legs out long. We're gonna take an inverted plank here. This is a deep opener of the front of the shoulders. It also engages the back of your body. So bring your hands about 6 inches, maybe a little more, in, behind your hips. So we're gonna come onto our wrists. Your fingers can face forward or they can face back, depending on your wrist mobility. And then press your heels into the mat. Lift your hips up off the mat. Really engage your glutes. Squeeze them together. Engage the back of your body. Good, and then you can let your head hang or you can keep it engaged. But just notice if you're holding a little too much tension in the neck. If you are, see if you can let that go. Good, take 2 more deep breaths here. And sink the hips back down to the mat. Bring both knees in toward your chest. Roll onto your back. Good. We'll build up some momentum here. So start to roll up the length of your mat. Good. Once you have enough speed, cross your ankles and come over to a tabletop position. So you're going to come into your tabletop here. We're going to play around with some balance in this posture. So keeping your left hand firmly planted into the mat, lift your left knee off the mat. So your left leg is extended back behind you. Your right hand is going to reach forward. Coming into this bird dog pose. And then you can play around here. You can stay here if this is enough of a challenge for you. Or you can reach back behind you, grab hold of that left foot. Good. Once you grab hold of that, see if you can kick into your right hand. Good. Exhale, come out of that. Right hand down, left knee down. Good. Extend your right foot out back behind you. Left fingertips reach forward. Hold it here first. Find your foundation. Maybe you want to play around with moving your hand around a little bit. Good. And then option to take that challenge, grabbing hold of opposite foot. Good. Exhale, come out of that. Reach long first. Then exhale, both hands down to the mat. Separate your knees about coming into your child's pose. So separate your knees wide. Bring your hands long in front of you. We're going to take some half moons here in child's pose. So side body stretch. First one will be to the right side. So bring both hands over to your left top corner of your mat. And then once you get there, sink into that side body stretch. Good, you should feel this all the way from maybe your elbow, your triceps, into your lats, all the way down, maybe even to your hip, depending on how deep you go into the side body stretch. Good, come back to center. We'll take that over to the other side, stretching into the left side this time. Good, come back to center. We'll bring our hips over our knees. Maybe if you need to bring your knees in just a little bit so they're underneath your hips. And then we'll start to walk the hands out long in front of us. We're coming into a melted heart puppy pose. So what you want to do is get your arms far enough out that you can sink your chest and your heart down to the ground. Coming into this deep shoulder flexion. Opening up the armpits. When you get there, let your head rest for a few breaths in this pose. Good, start to walk your hands back underneath you. We'll come all the way up to a kneeling position on both knees. We're going to take a couple of back bends here, but it's going to be dynamic instead of static. So that means we're going to be moving freely into both sides. So keeping either the tops of your feet on the ground, or you can tuck your back toes underneath you. Bring your left hand over to reach towards your left heel. If you can't get all the way there, just reach as far as you can, and then we'll move over to the right side. Your top arm reaches long so that you feel that nice stretch in the front of your body. Good, exhale brings you into the stretch. Inhale, send you back up. Just move freely with your own breath, following your inhales and your exhales to bring you into these poses. Take one more on each side. Good, come back up to center. Bring your hands underneath you. Tuck your back toes under if they're not already, and then send your hips high for a downward facing dog. Take some time here, our first time off of our hips and our knees. Maybe you pedal into both feet. Feeling some length in your spine here as you let your head hang towards the ground beneath your arm, or between your arms. Good, we're gonna move through a really slow flow here tonight. So firm up your foundation. Spread your fingertips wide. You'll inhale the right toes long, coming into a three-legged dog. Hold it here. Option to open the hips, stacking the right hip on top of the left. Then bend your knee, maybe circle out the ankle. Then come back to center. Right heel reaches long. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist. Hold it here. Good. Send your right toes out to the left side of the room. And then come onto the inside of your left foot. Reach your left fingertips high for fallen star. Good. Maybe you press your hips up towards the ceiling. Good. Exhale, left hand down to the mat. Sneak your right shin right behind your wrists here, coming into your pigeon pose. So we're going to be here for a few breaths. If you have like a pillow or a block you want to place under the right hip, this is a really good option to kind of lift your hips up so that you're not sinking too far into that hip if mobility might be a little bit limited for yourself. So listen to your body as you do that. We're gonna start to sink into the arms. You can always stay up on your fingertips if that feels good to you. Or start to come onto your forearms. Maybe you rest your forehead on the mat. Good. Notice your breath here. Are you taking deep inhales, deep exhales? Maybe your inhale is longer than your exhale. See if you can get them to be the same amount of time. Good. Start to walk your hands underneath you. Tuck your back toes under, lift that left knee off the mat. You're going to step your right foot outside your right hand. Your left foot's going to come meet you into a yogi squat. Good. Sink your hips down low. You can bring your hands in front of your heart. Good. If you have a block, again, you can place it under your hips to help support you in this pose. Always an option to have that prop here to give yourself a little bit of support. I always want to remind people that you can use any household item as a prop. Anything that you can find, maybe a book or a pillow, maybe even some Tupperware. Good. Exhale your hands down to the mat. Send your hips up high, coming into a forward fold. Bring your feet so that they touch at the top of your mat. Good. Inhale, we're going to rise all the way up. Come into your mountain pose. Good. When you get here, reach your arms long. Exhale, bring your arms out to the side into a cactus baby back bend. Good. Inhale, see your prayer overhead. Exhale, we're coming into our chair pose. Sink your hips low. Arms reach forward. Good. Deep bend in the knees, deep bend in the hips. Seeing how far down you can go. Good. Exhale, hands through to heart center. We'll twist over onto the right this time. Left elbow outside of right knee. When you get here, see if you can press into the palms, opening up that side body, twisting into the mid-spine. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, plant the hands. Step your feet back. Press your hips up for downward facing dog. Good. Take some time here to pedal it out. Next, inhale, send your left toes long. Option to open up that hip on this side. Bend the knee. Good, maybe take some ankle circles. Good, come back to center. Left heel long. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist. Hold it here. You're sending your left foot out to the right. Inhale your right, fingertips high towards the ceiling. Fallen star. Good, exhale, right hand down to the mat. Slide that left shin back behind your wrists, coming into your pigeon pose on the other side. Good. Maybe you walk your hands up first, squaring off those hips. And then when you're ready, you can sink down. When you get to where you're going, I invite you all to take a deep breath through the nose. Then open the mouth, exhale out anything that doesn't benefit you. Any thoughts or emotions, any feelings that just don't feel right today, let them go here on your mat. Good, let's walk the hands underneath you. Tuck your back toes under. Press up, stepping your left toes outside of your left foot. And then coming into your yogi squat. Good, hands can come to touch. Maybe you close your eyes here. Good, exhale, both hands down to the mat. Bring your hips up high. Bring your feet to touch. And a forward fold in front at the top of your mat. Good, inhale, arms overhead. Mountain pose. Exhale, bring your hands here to heart center this time. Close your eyes and feel the ground underneath your feet. Good, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sink your hips low. Come into that chair pose on the other side. Good, your arms reach long. Check back into that core. Bring both ribs together. Engage your core. Good, exhale, hands through to heart center. This time twisting over to the left. Right elbow outside of left knee. Press into those palms to open up the collarbones. Good, maybe you look up towards the ceiling. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Stretch the crown of your head towards the front of the room. Exhale, sink your hips low. Coming onto your bottom, onto your mat. Good. When you get there, you can take your time coming down onto your back. Maybe you want to engage the core muscles by reaching the chest up and then letting your core work as you lower down onto the mat. Good. Take your time to get here. We'll bring the knees to touch and your feet can come out wide. We'll just take some time here to check back into our breath, do a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing. So one hand can come to your low belly, one hand can come to your heart. And then each inhale, see if you can press into that bottom hand, filling up the lungs. Good. Exhale, open the mouth. Feel the belly button retract back into the body. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze here. Good. Send both legs up towards the ceiling. Maybe you take a few bends and straightens in the knees. Good. And if you want to play around with doing a shoulder stand, moving into a plow pose, so start to lift the hips up off of the mat. Your hands will come to your low back, and then reach your feet up long towards the ceiling. Good. Bring your chin away from your chest to open the airways. And then if you want to come into your plow pose, your feet will come behind your head. I just realized I have very little room to play around with here. We'll make it work. Good. Come out of that just as slowly as you came in. Bringing your feet back up towards the ceiling. And then slowly bringing your knees towards your nose. And then rolling back down on your back. Good. Bring your right knee in toward your chest. We'll take a quick supine spinal twist. Left leg long. Guide your right knee over to the left. Your right hand can come long out to a T. Good. Take one more deep breath here. Exhale brings you back to center. Left knee in, right leg long. Good. Tight squeeze to the left knee first, up towards the armpit. And then guide that left knee over to the right. Good. Come back to center. Let your legs just extend long out in front of you. Your hands will come to your sides. We're going to take our final resting posture here, ending out our practice. Good. You can let your eyes come to close. And imagine your jaw relaxing away from the roof of your mouth. Your forehead, every line is relaxing away. Letting your body just be still on the mat. I invite you now to take some time to do a loving meditation. So to start, we'll think of someone or something that we love unconditionally. Noticing how just the thought of them brings feelings and warmth into our heart, into our soul, and into our bodies. Maybe it's a special memory. That comes about as you think about them. And now imagining sending that love, that same amount, that same intensity to someone that maybe you don't know, but could use that love, that fire, and that passion. Send that to them now. And remember this feeling as you go throughout your days this week. See if you can reciprocate that feeling towards every person that you interact with, whether that be in person or virtually right now. Send them some compassion. Good, you can stay here if you'd like. If you're ready to move on with your night, we'll wake up the body nice and slowly, being gentle with ourselves. And start to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Letting your nerves tell your brain that your body is back. And send your arms overhead for a long body stretch. Stretching all the way from the fingertips to the toes. And bring your knees in towards your chest. Roll back up to a comfortable seated position, taking your time to get there. Your hands can come to your knees or they can come to touch in front of your heart. Maybe they rest on top of your heart, showing yourself some love this time. Thanking yourself for coming onto your mat and giving yourself a little bit of TLC. Hope to see you again soon, and I hope you are able to bring this compassion with you throughout the week. Namaste.